Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Keys of the Castle podcast. Today, I'm going to go ahead and continue the series of This or That Disneyland Ride Edition Would You Rather Roulette Matchup. The longest series title ever. That's Disneyland Would You Rather This or That Roulette Matchup. So we left off on Pirates of the Caribbean versus Peter Pan. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on that now and do this part 2 of that matchup. So on the last episode, just to recap, I think basically it was determined that Peter Pan was the winner between choosing either Peter Pan or Pirates of the Caribbean to ride for a day if you're only visiting the park once a year and had to choose between the two. That's just for me personally. And I gave my reasons and what have you in that episode. So today is going to be the sticky situation of choosing this or that between permanently removing Pirates of the Caribbean or Peter Pan. Again, just the ground rules. It would be hypothetically nothing replacing the ride, and you wouldn't necessarily lose or gain any more space in the park. So, obviously that's physically impossible, so that's just hypothetical. But just focusing on the rides themselves, choosing between would you rather. So I don't know what your answer would be, but I'll go ahead and jump into this one now. On the last episode, I did take the hot take and the hot take route, and I chose Peter Pan for the ride that I would choose to ride if I had to choose between the two. On today's episode, it might not be the same. It is going to be a tough call because everything in me wants to choose Peter Pan, and I really, I feel like if I did choose that, I would end up probably regretting it if it actually happened. Even just simply for the fact that, the ride time is such an extreme difference between the two. Of course, Pirates of the Caribbean is one of the longest rides, if not the longest ride that's at Disneyland in terms of ride time length. And Peter Pan, on the other hand, has got to be one of the shortest, if not the shortest. I don't know what the exact rankings are on that in terms of ride time length, but they're definitely extreme opposites. So purely based off of that, even I feel like I would have to just choose Pirates of the Caribbean. I will have to say, in recent years, I have had this really strange feeling that has felt like Pirates of the Caribbean is actually too long. I know that's really crazy to say, but I think I explained in the last episode also just that my outlook on Pirates of the Caribbean has changed a bit over time. So I'll just get right to it, and I'll talk about maybe a little bit of both rides. So yeah, if I had to choose to get rid of one, I think, honestly, again, it would be a hard choice because I favor the old school type of Pirates of the Caribbean ride so much more so. So they did the last major change was 2018, and then the last major change before that was, I think, 2006. So in 2018 they made the redhead change, so that was a big change, obviously, and then in 2006 in Pirates of the Caribbean, I think that's when they added the movie characters, so Captain Barbossa and Jack Sparrow in them. I could be completely wrong. I feel like it was Captain Barbossa came first, and then it was the Jack Sparrows added on there. I'm probably just remembering that wrong, but definitely 2006 they added the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff. The movie stuff. Pirates of the Caribbean movie stuff onto the ride. So like the music and some of the music, on some of the scenes, potentially just the one scene, but and then Captain Barbossa and Jack Sparrow. So It was really cool at first. I won't get too into the controversial 2018 change. I'll just say that, like, I think my favorite version was the version 2005 and earlier. So, both big recent changes, I kind of do. I don't know if it's just nostalgia. Again, I don't want to get too much into it, and I'll probably get canceled or whatever. But, no, but honestly, I do just love that classic original Pirates of the Caribbean version. The other thing too, though, is also just the effects. So one of the effects, so there's a couple things with Pirates of the Caribbean. So one of the things is the effects. So well, really just specifically one that I'm thinking of is the fire scene where the town is on fire and there's the flames. So if you even look at video of the prior version, I know that back in the day, I don't know if it was the 60s or 70s, but the ride caught on fire because they used not actual fire, but they used some sort of lighting or some sort of effect that, like, the lights that they used, I think they were like heating up too hot, caused a fire, something like that. Something caused an actual fire, even though it wasn't actual fire to begin with. Although that would be pretty cool. That'd be really cool, actually. Imagine that. I mean, Indiana Jones has a real fire, so why not Pirates of the Caribbean? But anyway, I mean, realistically, I know that may not be possible in that space, but just dreaming here. But anyway, they did change that effect, and that's another effect that, like, I really feel like it affects the quality and just atmosphere and ambiance of the ride. So that would be really cool to change that back. But either way, I don't know, I get this feeling that the current version of Pirates of the Caribbean is a really watered down version, and it's kind of confusing and inconsistent with the story. Like, I know someone who rode the ride who doesn't know Disney history and stuff like that, and they didn't grow up going to Disney and actually is not even from America at all. They're from a different country, and they rode Pirates of the Caribbean at Disneyland, and they were like, I talked to them, weeks and months later, and they ended up saying, like, oh, like, I thought that the ride was basically just like a bad, cheap version of, like, the movie. Like, it's like they thought the ride was supposed to be about the movie, because because they know about the movie, of course, and they didn't know which one came first. And then also there's stuff about there's content from the movie in the ride. They've got the song in there. The name is obviously exactly the same. They're both made by Disney, and then they've got the characters in there. So yeah, it's confusing, and then even for people who do know the Disney history and who know and have been on Pirates of the Caribbean before, it's like this weird version of, like, it's like half and half. It's like half the ride and then half an IP ride. It's a little strange. What I wish they could do, and this is completely off topic, to get back to the point really quick, I somehow would still choose Pirates of the Caribbean to stay and Peter Pan to go. As hard as that is to make a decision on that, Peter Pan is, I think, something that you can still get on in other parks, if you really wanted to or whatever. And yeah, I think, Pirates of the Caribbean is just more iconic and more entertaining and just longer and better. And I think everyone would kill me if I chose to keep Peter Pan over Pirates of the Caribbean. Peter Pan, even just on that subject, like, even just like the matchup of this or that, I would say most people, it's not even a comparison. I know, like, even within Disney fans, people not hate Peter Pan, but they just couldn't care less about it, and they don't understand, why the wait time is so long. Not necessarily why the wait time is so long either, but part of it, yes, like, why is the wait time so long, but also the fact that, like, people choose to wait, because that's kind of two different kind of situations and causes there. So Obviously, the efficiency of the ride is really bad for Peter Pan, so they can't really move a lot of people through it quickly. So that's one of the reasons why the wait time is always long. But also the fact that people willingly choose to wait a long time for the ride, I think that's the bigger thing that people are confused about, that don't care for the ride. I don't really understand how you can not care for it if you're a Disney fan. I don't want to say true Disney fan, but I mean, I think one of the most classic Disney movies, I mean, man, it's got to be really, really on the top of the list, but one of the most classic Disney movies is Peter Pan. So I feel like to ride Peter Pan at Disneyland is really, I guess magical for people. It's really you're really, immersed into the depths of classic Disney. So anyway, that's it. Yeah, I feel like this matchup is it's only a tough matchup for a select few. Maybe nobody, maybe it's just me, but I know a lot of people do love Peter Pan. I don't think nobody rides Peter Pan because it's got the most latest technology like Rise of the Resistance, or because it's the most thrilling and impressive attraction in the special effects and what have you. Obviously nobody rides it for that. It's purely for the classic Disney vibes of just being completely submerged into that magical Disney type fantasy sort of a world. In riding the Peter Pan adventure ride. That's not what it's called, I'm making that up. But in riding Peter Pan at Disneyland. So anyway, it wouldn't be a tough matchup for most. And I think it is kind of an easy call to say, we'd all choose Pirates of the Caribbean over Peter Pan. But anyway, back to Pirates of the Caribbean. What I wish they could do, which I think would be really, really cool, is to, I don't know, just maybe be able to switch things up. So maybe I'll keep this for another episode, and just purely talk about Pirates of the Caribbean. But what I wish they can do is, one thing I wish they would have done is maybe I'll just say it now, whatever. I wish they can do sort of like an overlay. So the same way that they choose, the same way that they do Soaring Over the World most of the time, I guess, which is a whole other episode in and of itself. I just don't know why Soaring Over the World is the main version when everybody clearly loves Soaring Over California way more. But anyway, it is just much higher quality. So Pirates of the Caribbean, I wish they can do an overlay or just switch things up. I know that would probably be really hard, but in an ideal world, I feel like that would be really cool to get the best of both worlds. And I feel like it would be really cool to do the original sort of attraction, or at least without the movie based stuff. So without the movie characters and the movie song and everything, the movie soundtrack song and everything. I feel like it would be really cool to only put that on there even in certain years, put it on there for a full year and be we're just doing the movie version of this ride for a year, and then the rest of the years, or whatever the other year, just put it back to normal or whatever. I don't know. I just really feel like, you know what I was going to say is a big one I left off is the scripting. So I feel like a lot of the scripting from the old Pirates of the Caribbean is much more authentic and genuine. One thing I did actually really like that they took away from the post-2006 version of Pirates of the Caribbean is the Davy Jones smoke effect. Is that still there? I'm not sure if that's still there. I feel like that's gone now. I need to just do a full other episode of Pirates of the Caribbean. I'll just leave it at that. But basically for this matchup, for the sake of people not coming after me as an angry mob, and then also for even just my own my own personal enjoyment, I would definitely choose Pirates of the Caribbean to stay versus Pirates of the Caribbean and Peter Pan. And I feel like Peter Pan is so, you can just replicate it so easily. And again, it's at other parks, and you can just create that ride. Like literally someone who, just wants to create that ride can just create it on their own. I feel like it's that simple. Like if just an independent company wanted to recreate that ride, they totally could. Which I think actually Peter Pan is, I think isn't it back in the, what is it called, the public domain or whatever? Am I screwing that up? Probably. But I think Peter Pan is going to be in the public domain again soon or something like that. I don't know. Either way, yeah, it's a ride that you can replicate it pretty easily. So I feel like an independent company can literally rebuild that ride outside of Disneyland and just charge people to get on that. If in this hypothetical world situation that we had to choose between Peter Pan and Pirates of the Caribbean. No, but genuinely, Pirates of the Caribbean, it's a great ride. It's of course one of the most iconic rides at Disneyland, if not the most iconic ride. And for the majority of my life, it's been my favorite Disney ride. I would be excited to try it out at the different parks one day, hopefully, God willing. That would be just great and awesome and incredible. And yeah, that's today's matchup. So I think that about does it. I think definitely I think the difficulty in this matchup was, especially for choosing the permanence of one staying versus the permanence of one going, is the emotional and nostalgic connection, because it's almost equal for me between the two. Like Peter Pan versus Pirates of the Caribbean, like they're both very nostalgic, and a lot of people who grew up going to Disney have just, a strong emotional connection to both. Again, just for that classic Disney vibe and feel of both of them. So that was that matchup. I wasn't sure how long that was going to go on. It looks like it's just going to be this 2-series part. In my head, I was thinking it was going to be like a dramatic eight-part series, but thankfully it was just a 2. And the next matchup is, oh man, this is another crazy one. This is another really, really, really good one. Dang, this is wild. I'm gonna go ahead and hype this up, because again, these are random matchups. These are randomized roulette matchups for this series of Disneyland This or That Would You Rather roulette matchups. This is another good one. Very, very similar to Pirates of the Caribbean versus Peter Pan, This or That. So the next matchup is going to be Space Mountain versus, am I getting this right? Yes. Yeah, Space Mountain versus Rise of the Resistance. Bam. There we go. I'm excited to talk about these ones. I feel like, again, I should just do a whole episode on Rise of the Resistance and just the whole Star Wars and outer space theme in Disney and Disneyland and Disneyland parks, but specifically Disneyland. I feel like I can just do a whole episode on that. So I'll definitely make sure to just use this as an excuse to sprinkle all that in, just like in these previous episode series. So that's going to be a crazy matchup. I don't know if I will start that now. I might just save that for the next episode. But man, what a crazy, crazy matchup. And we can even talk about like Hyperspace Mountain versus Rise of the Resistance, because of course Hyperspace Mountain is Star Wars themed. Yeah, I feel like, man, that's a tough one. I feel like realistically, again, most people would just straight up choose Rise of the Resistance. But yeah, we'll go through that and we'll talk about it, and it'll be fun. Maybe it'll be a quick one. And maybe I'll just use it as an excuse to talk more about Rise of the Resistance, because that has been something that's been on my mind. So, yeah, I do want to talk about Rise of the Resistance. So, anyway, with that, guys, thanks for listening if you have. I think that's going to do it for this episode. So, I'll talk to you guys next time, and take care.